This composite case begins with a Tuesday morning phone call. A retired postal worker from Columbus, Ohio, named Gerald Whitmore answered it like any other call. Within 40 seconds, he was crying, because the voice on the other end of the line was his 23-year-old granddaughter, Maya. Her voice, her way of saying pop pop, her exact tone when she is frightened. She told him she had been in a car accident in Tennessee, that she had been arrested at the scene, that she needed $8,000 to get out before the hearing, and she begged him, "Please do not call Mom. Do not call anyone. Just help me." Gerald Whitmore drove to his bank. He wired $8,000 to an account he was given over the phone, and he sat by the phone for 3 hours waiting for a call back telling him Maya was safe. The call that finally came was from his daughter, calling to check in. And when he told her what had happened, the silence on the other end told him everything he needed to know. Maya had been at work in Cincinnati the entire morning. She had never been in Tennessee. She had never made that call. The voice Gerald heard was not his granddaughter. It was a cloned voice based on a short clip from Maya's social media page. And that scam had just taken $8,000 from a 74-year-old man living on a fixed income. This is not a story from years ago. This is the fraud that is happening right now in 2026 in cities and towns across the United States. And if you have a parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, or a friend over the age of 60, they need to know what you are about to hear. My name is Helen Carter, and this is the Senior Rulebook. This channel exists to make sure that older Americans understand the rules before the rules cost them money. Today's topic may be the most urgent one I have covered this year. If you find this information valuable, please subscribe to the Senior Rulebook and turn on notifications. New information comes out every week, and this is one of those areas where what you do not know genuinely costs you. Let me explain what is actually happening, how this technology works, exactly what these scammers do step by step, and what every senior and every adult child in America needs to do today to make sure this does not happen to their family. The FBI has issued multiple warnings about AI-powered voice cloning scams. These are not theoretical warnings about something that might happen someday. These are active, ongoing operations targeting older Americans right now. According to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, 2025 AI-related crime reports included 22,364 complaints, with reported losses reaching nearly $893 million across America nationwide overall. The Grandparent scam, which has existed for years in a cruder form, has now been supercharged by technology that most seniors have never heard of and that most people cannot detect in real time. Here is what this means in plain English. Artificial intelligence voice cloning is a technology that can take a short audio sample of a real person's voice and reproduce it so accurately that family members cannot tell the difference. We are not talking about a voice that sounds similar. We are talking about the exact pitch, the exact rhythm, the exact way your granddaughter pauses before she says something serious, the exact laugh, the exact way she says your name. Consumer agencies now warn that voice cloning can make fake family emergency calls sound disturbingly real to ordinary listeners today. And the audio sample needed may be only a few seconds, not minutes anymore today. A few seconds of your grandchild's voice may already be publicly available on a social media platform today. A birthday video, a TikTok post, a graduation clip, a comment on a family photo with sound attached. Scammers may search public profiles, collect short audio samples, create voice clones, and then use trained callers, scripts, or pressure tactics carefully designed to make a grandparent panic before they can slow down and verify anything. This is not a single criminal working from a basement. The FBI and federal prosecutors have documented, organized criminal networks operating out of multiple countries, running these operations like businesses, with scripts, with managers, with quotas, and with specific training on how to manipulate older adults emotionally before they have a chance to think clearly. Here is the step-by-step process that most people do not know, because understanding the steps is how you break the spell. Step 1 is research. Before the phone ever rings at your parents' house, someone has already done their homework. They have found the grandchild's name. They know where the grandchild lives or goes to school. They may know a sibling's name, a parent's name, even the grandparent's first name. This information is gathered from public social media profiles, from family posts, from public records, and from data that has been sold following data breaches. The more a family shares publicly online, the more material these operations have to work with. Step 2 is the clone. Using the audio sample and the personal information gathered, they build a voice profile. The actual cloning software is now cheap and widely available. Some of these tools cost less than a monthly magazine subscription. Criminal networks have access to more sophisticated versions with even greater accuracy. Step 3 is the call. Your parent picks up the phone. Within the first few seconds, they hear a voice that sounds exactly like someone they love. That voice is usually in some form of distress. Crying, breathing hard, speaking quickly, or whispering urgently. The emotional impact of hearing a loved one in apparent distress causes an immediate physical reaction. The heart rate goes up. The logical part of the brain takes a back seat. This is not a character flaw. This is human biology. It is exactly what these operators are counting on. Step 4 is the handoff. After the voice clone has delivered the distress call, a second person gets on the phone. This person usually presents themselves as a law enforcement officer, a lawyer, a bail bondsman, or a hospital administrator. Their job is to provide the structure and the authority. They explain what happened. They explain what is needed. They create a sense of official process. And they explain why the money must be sent immediately, quietly, and without involving other family members. That last part is deliberate. The instruction not to tell anyone is the most important tool these scammers have. Because if your parent calls you, they find out in 30 seconds that the emergency is fake. Keeping your parent isolated until the money is gone is the entire strategy. Step 5 is the collection. The money requested is almost always asked for in a way that is very difficult to reverse. Wire transfers, gift cards, cryptocurrency, or, in some cases, a courier who actually comes to the house to pick up cash. The FTC has documented cases where scammers specifically request payment in gift cards and then ask for the card numbers and PIN codes over the phone, draining the funds within minutes of the purchase. This is where many seniors accidentally lose everything. Because once that money is sent by wire transfer, once those gift card codes are read aloud over the phone, that money is almost certainly gone. Banks have limited ability to recover funds once a transfer has been authorized, even when fraud is proven afterward. That is not the bank protecting the scammer. That is why fast reporting and prevention both matter greatly here, which is exactly why prevention is so much more powerful than recovery. Now, here is where this gets important, because I want to explain something that trips up a lot of people. Many seniors, when they hear about this scam, think to themselves, well, I would know my own grandchild's voice. I would know if something sounded off. And that instinct is reasonable. It is also no longer reliable. The warnings coming from consumer protection agencies today are consistent on this important point for families now. People who hear a cloned voice during a stressful emergency call may still believe it, especially when fear, urgency, secrecy, and family concern are all being used against them in one sudden moment. Now add to that a scenario where the call is unexpected, the emotion is high, and the voice is crying and speaking quickly. The conditions for detection are as bad as they can possibly be. That is not an accident. If you know someone who thinks they would simply catch it, please share this video with them, because the technology has advanced past the point where confidence alone is a defense. Let me tell you about another situation, and I want to be clear that this is a composite example drawn from the kinds of cases that have been documented, not a verified individual case. Consider a retired school teacher in her early 70s living in a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. Her grandson attends college in another state. She gets a call on a Tuesday afternoon. The voice is his. He tells her he was in a minor accident, that the other driver is pressing charges, and that he needs $1,200 for a lawyer to show up that evening before the preliminary hearing. He tells her not to call his parents because they will be furious about the accident, and he is too ashamed. She does not call his parents. She drives to a pharmacy, buys 3 gift cards, calls back the number they gave her, and reads off the card numbers. Her grandson calls her the next Sunday from his campus apartment, completely unaware. He is fine. He has been fine all week. But $1,200 from a fixed income, gone in 45 minutes. The detail about the pharmacy matters. Scammers who ask for gift cards are counting on a very specific window, the time between when your parent leaves the house and when the card numbers are in their hands. Some pharmacy chains and grocery stores now have systems in place to flag large gift card purchases made by older adults and to ask questions. But not all of them, and not in all states. Which is why the defense cannot be at the cash register. The defense has to happen before the phone call ends. Here is the most practical and most underused protection available to every family in America right now, and it costs nothing. It takes about 2 minutes to set up, and it works even if the voice on the phone sounds completely authentic. It is called a family safe word. A family safe word is a private word or short phrase that only the members of your immediate family know. It is not a pet's name. It is not a street you grew up on. It is not a birthday or a last name. It is something specific, private, and unusual, something that would never appear in a social media post, a family photo caption, or a public record. The rule is simple. If anyone calls claiming to be a family member in an emergency, the first question is, what is the safe word? If they cannot answer it, the call ends immediately. In a real emergency, if someone cannot say the safe word, the safest response is to hang up and verify through another trusted family contact immediately, before sending any money or leaving home today. This one step can dramatically reduce the voice clone risk. Because no matter how good the voice sounds, the AI cannot know a private word that was never spoken online or in any public space. Before you finish watching this video today, please call or text your parents, your grandparents, and your adult children and set up that word. Write it down somewhere private at home. Make sure everyone in the family knows it applies even when the call sounds completely real, especially when the call sounds completely real. Now let me walk through the specific payment methods these scammers use, because knowing these patterns gives you a second line of defense. Gift cards are the most common request. No real emergency in the United States, not a bail situation, not a hospital, not a lawyer's retainer, is ever resolved by someone calling you and asking for iTunes gift cards, Google Play cards, Amazon gift cards, or any other retail gift card. That request, in any emergency phone call from a person claiming to be in trouble, is the signal that the call is fraudulent. Period. Not probably fraudulent, not suspicious, fraudulent. Wire transfers are the second most common method. These are faster and harder to trace than gift cards. Scammers provide bank account numbers and routing numbers over the phone. Once a wire transfer is completed, the receiving account is typically closed within hours and the funds moved. This is why the window for bank intervention is extremely narrow, sometimes less than a few hours. Cash couriers are a method that is growing, and it is particularly alarming because it means someone comes to the door. The caller may tell your parent to place cash in an envelope and that a legal representative or a bondsman will come by to pick it up. In some documented cases, seniors have handed cash directly to strangers at their front door because they believe their grandchild's freedom or life depended on it. No legitimate legal or bail process works this way. Cryptocurrency is increasingly requested in cases where larger amounts are involved. These transactions are essentially irreversible once completed and are extremely difficult to trace. If your parent receives a request for any of these payment methods in connection with an unexpected call about a family member in distress, that is a scam. The payment method alone is enough to stop and verify. Here's what you should tell your parents to do if they receive one of these calls, before they take any action at all. Tell them to hang up, not pause, not ask more questions. Hang up. Then call the family member directly, using the phone number that is already saved in their own phone, not a number provided during the call, not a number the caller gives them to reach the lawyer or the jail, their own saved contact. If the grandchild answers normally, the call was fraud. If the grandchild does not answer, call another family member directly and ask them to check in. Do not call back the original number. Do not wire anything while waiting for a callback. Do not leave the house with cash or gift cards until you have spoken to at least one verified family member. This process takes 10 minutes at most, and those 10 minutes are the difference between an upsetting phone call and losing your life savings. Now, I also want to talk about something that does not get enough attention in these conversations, and that is the emotional aftermath. The FBI, the FTC, and elder care organizations all report the same pattern. The majority of seniors who are victimized by this scam do not report it. Not because they do not know where to report it, but because of shame. Because of the fear of being seen as someone who was easily fooled, because of not wanting family members to know, and because of a very painful feeling that maybe they should have known better. If your parent is watching this right now, or if you share this video with someone who has already been through this, I want to say this clearly and directly. Being deceived by this technology is not a sign of weakness or low intelligence. The FTC and cybersecurity experts warn that educated, careful people can still be victimized when scammers create panic, urgency, secrecy, and a realistic family voice. People who spent entire careers in analytical, skeptical, detail-oriented professions. The technology is designed to bypass rational thinking by triggering an emotional state before the analytical brain engages. It works on almost everyone under the right conditions. It is not your fault. What matters now is reporting it and making sure others are protected. If you or someone you know has been victimized by this type of scam, there are two primary places to report it. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov accepts detailed fraud reports and uses that information to build cases against organized criminal networks. The FTC's fraud reporting portal at reportfraud.ftc.gov accepts consumer reports and helps track patterns across the country. You should also contact your bank immediately, even if you believe the funds are gone, because in some cases, early notification allows for a hold or a partial recovery attempt. Contact your local law enforcement as well to create an official record, which can be helpful in any subsequent recovery process. The Elder Care Locator, which you can reach at 1-800-677-1116, can also connect you with local adult protective services if you need additional support navigating next steps. This is not about fear. It is about knowing the rule before the rule affects you. Let me also speak directly to the adult children and grandchildren watching this, because you play a critical role in whether this scam succeeds or fails with your own family. Have the conversation now, not after something goes wrong. Sit down with your parents or grandparents, whether in person or on the phone, and explain clearly that a new technology exists that can reproduce anyone's voice from a very short audio clip. Use those words. Do not soften it. Do not say, "Some people are doing something tricky." Explain it plainly, because older adults deserve to be treated as the intelligent people they are. Make sure they understand that no legitimate emergency involving a family member will ever come with instructions to keep it secret from other family members. That instruction to keep it quiet is the clearest signal in the entire script. It is the moment the scam requires your parents' cooperation. If they know to look for that instruction, they have a fighting chance even without a safe word. Lock down the social media settings on your own accounts if you have young children or grandchildren. Public videos, public posts, and public audio give these operations the raw material they need. Many families do not realize that a 30-second birthday video on a public Instagram account is all that is required to build a convincing voice clone of their grandchild. Check in regularly. Seniors who are isolated and who do not have frequent, routine contact with family are significantly more vulnerable to these tactics. The scam works because the victim has no easy, immediate way to verify the story. Regular communication changes that dynamic. And finally, here is a thought that I want to leave you with, because I believe it matters. The people running these operations are professionals. They study the emotional vulnerabilities of older adults. They test their scripts. They train their operators on how to respond when someone pushes back. They track what works and refine it. The voice cloning technology itself is improving every month. The calls are getting more convincing, not less. The only thing that reliably defeats a professional deception operation is preparation that happens before the call arrives. A safe word set up in advance, a clear family agreement about what to do in an emergency call, and a parent who has heard exactly what this scam sounds like before they ever receive it. That is what this video is for. Here's what I want you to do today before you move on to anything else. First, share this video with your parent or grandparent directly. Not just a link. Call them. Watch it with them if you can. Or describe the key points in your own words. Make sure they have heard this information. Second, set up a family safe word today. Right now, if possible. Call the family members you would contact in an emergency and agree on a word that will never appear online and that everyone will memorize. Third, save the verification number. Make sure your parent has your correct phone number saved in their phone and knows to call that saved number, not a number provided during a suspicious call, if they ever receive an emergency call about a family member. Fourth, review the privacy settings on public social media accounts for younger family members, especially those with video content. Reduce what is publicly visible wherever possible. Fifth, if something has already happened, report it to ic3.gov, to reportfraud.ftc.gov, and to local law enforcement. And if you need support navigating next steps, call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116. In this composite example, Gerald Whitmore lost $8,000 to a scammer who never met his granddaughter or knew what her real life was like. That scam had a short audio clip and a criminal script. That was enough. But Gerald now knows. His whole family knows. And Maya's social media accounts are private, and they have a safe word. That is how this ends. Not with the technology getting simpler, not with the calls getting less convincing, with families having a 2-minute conversation that takes everything these operations are counting on and removes it. I'm Helen Carter. This is the Senior Rulebook. If this information matters to someone in your life, please share it with them today. Subscribe to this channel so you receive every update as new scams and new rules emerge. Because on this channel, the goal is always the same. You know the rule before the rule costs you something.